There's been a lot of hype for World War III, but is it really the game to dethrone and kill the Battlefield series? What's going on, guys? It is JSnake here, and today, guys, I am bringing you another video. And in this video, we're going to be talking about World War III, the new game developed by pretty much an indie developer company, and if it has the potential to actually kill Battlefield as a whole. Now, guys, before we actually get in this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel with post notifications turned on so you can be notified every time I do upload a new video. Also, guys, make sure you do join my Discord. That link will be in the description. But with that being said, let's get into the video. So there's been a lot of hype for World War III, and if you're not aware of what World War III is, it's essentially a Battlefield-like game that is a modern military shooter that pretty much shares a lot of the same characteristics as the Battlefield games, the Call of Duty games, the Arma games, the Escape from Tarkov games. Like, it's basically a mix of all of those. And there was a lot of hype for it when it was initially revealed, and we just recently got our first gameplay impressions at the Gamescom event. And really, it just added on to the hype. There's a lot more people on board with this game now, and the people who already were on board, their hype has increased tremendously. The game looks incredible, but the thing that's really weird about it is that this game has been soaring to the top of a lot of people's lists, and that's very weird because the game is developed by an indie company which is from Poland, and you really don't see a game, that's just developed by some kind of out of the blue company that hasn't really developed many other big games. You don't really see a game like this just kind of shoot to the top of everybody's wish list, everybody's hype list. Pretty much, it's really unheard of, honestly. So when this game just kind of came out of nowhere, it took a lot of people, and especially the Battlefield community, by surprise. And honestly, guys, the game could not have released at a better time. World War III is releasing at a time in which the Battlefield community is not only weakened, but it's also split. So we obviously had Battlefield 1 a couple of years ago, and that was a World War I Battlefield. Then now, a couple of years later, we have Battlefield 5, which is a World War II Battlefield. There is a gigantic chunk of the Battlefield community that has been longing for a modern military shooter, and that's just kind of what they prefer. They like the games like PUBG, Escape from Tarkov, Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Arma, just games like those. And a lot of people that, kind of come from these modern military games, like these other ones, like, obviously Battlefield 4 and 3, Arma 3, Arma 2, just stuff like that, are fans of the Battlefield series, obviously. And they're pretty disappointed because, a lot of people have been longing for a Battlefield game. I mean, Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 are pretty much masterpieces. They are incredible games, and they still hold up their player numbers to this day. And it's just insane, the amount of people that still actually play the games, especially Battlefield 3. That game has still a very active player base. And it really just goes to show how many people have been craving a World War III or just a modern military battlefield for a very long time. Now, the thing that really gives this game's kind of initial release date and everything the perfection that it has is the fact that the Battlefield fan base is not only kind of upset that it's not a modern game, and that's not even the big thing, but the big thing about this whole split, and that's really causing a lot of people to be hyped for this game, is the fact of all the Battlefield 5 controversy coming from Battle Royale, coming from the historical inaccuracy, just coming from the developers, how they're treating the actual players. So it's really just kind of going perfect for World War III, because obviously Battlefield 5's pre-order sales are down 85% compared to Black Ops 4, and Black Ops 4 is not even doing the strongest either. So there are probably at least hundreds of thousands of players that have kind of left Battlefield and are looking at this game. And during the initial reveal trailer and the time kind of surrounding that, we obviously got to see some footage, not necessarily much gameplay, kind of more of a cinematic kind of style of trailer, and it was getting people excited, but nobody could have expected what the gameplay would actually look like. Now, you guys are watching it here, but I'm sure you could tell that it is very, and I mean very, similar to Battlefield 4. Quite frankly, if you showed someone this trailer that maybe hasn't played Battlefield 4 in like a year or so or something like that, it would honestly not surprise me if they confuse this for Battlefield 4. Really the only things that kind of are different are kind of obviously the text style, which is still very similar, and the animations, and pretty much other than that, it is very similar to Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 3. And the thing about that is, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said before, Battlefield 4 is a masterpiece, to put it at the very least. So when a game kind of comes even close to replicating what Battlefield 4 accomplished, that's pretty good, and that's gonna fill this kind of gap, this void that people have that, you know, obviously is not being filled by the Battlefield developers, and really not the other developers, because PUBG is obviously not in a good spot too, but I've talked about that before, so hopefully you guys have seen that. But this is just kind of looking like it's going to fill that void that people have been missing for years now, really ever since Battlefield 4. Now, I do know that this game is an indie game, so it's obviously not going to have that kind of AAA polishing, you know, whether it be animations, whether it be voice acting or whatever, and quite frankly, the voice acting is a little subpar with this game, but regardless, it looks very, very fun, and I will for sure be getting this game. It literally looks like Battlefield 4 and Arma 3 have had a baby together, because it has like the kind of gameplay flow style and the, I guess, kind of looks of Battlefield 4, but then it has kind of the movements and the tactical style of gameplay that Arma 3 has. I mean, for example, we have tons of movements that you would never see in a Call of Duty or Battlefield game. Like, you can lay on your stomach and like flip around and stuff. You can like lay on your stomach and prone and like kind of turn around corners. You wouldn't see this stuff in like in Battlefield or a Call of Duty game, but you know, this is something we see in Arma, so it's like really cool. It's like what Project Argo was trying to be. It's just, you know, obviously a more successful version than Project Argo, which, if you don't know what Project Argo is, you should probably not find out. That game was a train wreck. Suffice to say though, World War 3 does seem like it could live up to the hype and the shoes that it has to fill. Obviously we have seen gameplay, and the gameplay is very good in my opinion. There's bugs, but you know, we're gonna see bugs in every game. That kind of is obviously not launched yet, and it's still in its beta stages and alpha stages, and obviously it's an indie game, so they don't necessarily have the money, they don't have the funds, and they don't have the manpower that, you know, AAA developers have. But regardless, they are doing a damn good job at it. I think this game is definitely going to hold people over, if not, you know, kind of build its own thing. But it's at least going to hold people over until the next modern Battlefield game, which obviously is going to be years, unless, you know, something else comes out. But I think this game is going to do very well. I think it's going to have a very good player base. I feel like the developers are going to listen to the community and treat them with the respect that the DICE and EA developers are not treating the Battlefield community with. And I really think this game's going to suction a lot of the Battlefield community to it, and a lot of them are not necessarily going to abandon the game, but they're definitely going to not play the Battlefield games as much as they normally would. Regardless though of all this, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you do like the video and you do share the video. Guys, I hope you all have a great day, and peace.